Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Benjamin Franklin said these very wise words. I quote, "An investment in knowledge always pays the best interest." There you go. Here comes Kate Smith, and God Bless America, followed by a Patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Call in, call in. Good morning, good morning. Oh, thank you very much, and welcome to Zeb at the Ranch. Brand new week, the last week in June 2016. My. Good morning to you. Right now, I'd like to welcome everybody and say thanks to our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers like Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call, get on the route service, 734-6969. Right now, without further ado, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, how are you, Lorna?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. One
of our outstanding lunch munchers and a very dear friend. Lorna, thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate it.
Have a great day.
I will. Thank you, and the same to you. Oh, my goodness sakes, that was nice. And let's go do our weather forecast real fast. And the weather brought to you by Genie Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. I'm telling you what, they've got all the ideas on how to enhance the personality and individuality of your home. So please, whatever you need to make your house a home, carpet and flooring, kitchen construction, home decor items, whatever, it's right there at Genie Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. And now here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather as we get ready to kick off another work week and Independence weekend. Looks like mostly sunny skies for today. Looking at slightly breezy conditions, winds out of the southeast, right around 11 miles an hour, but a high of 95 tonight, low of 60 tomorrow. Pretty much the same as today. Mostly sunny skies, high of 94, with an overnight low of 59. Pretty much the same for Wednesday as well. Mostly sunny, high of 94, overnight low of 61. Dropping down to mostly sunny and 90 for Thursday, and it looks like mid-80s for Friday. Yesterday's high was 85. The overnight low was 45. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
I appreciate it, Gina. Thank you very, very much. Job well done. Genie Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. Caller, I'll be right there. Stand by. I appreciate your call. I'll be there in a moment. Darrow's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Hey, don't forget, take all your rumply-crumplies in there. I've got plenty of them in there right now, as a matter of fact, and they'll come home looking brand spanking new. What a job they do on your clothes. And by the way, if when you stop in there with your clothes and you prepay, you'll get a 10% discount. Well, you'd better stop in today. Darrow's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. And also a quick thank you to our friends at SafeLink Internet. How polite are those people? I mean, my goodness, There was a gentleman that called the other day, and he was so nice, so friendly, and I can see why they have over 10,000 customers and fast and reliable service. Very nice people at SafeLink Internet, 677-8000. You give them a call and get on their program today. Caller, good morning, and thank you for your call. Go ahead.
Good morning, Zeb. You know how you're always saying you want to deal strictly in facts?
Yes, sir.
Well, I heard a rumor that for the Denny's restaurant, that they were not going to allow any more water pistols in the premises.
Maybe that might be more than a rumor.
Beg your pardon?
I said that might be more than a rumor.
Well, I'll tell you what, just a warning to the Zeb's Lunch Bunchers, you might want to wear your raincoat.
You know something? That is a wonderful group of people. They've all got great senses of humor, and they have to be around me. And it was a wonderful deal last Thursday, and I certainly appreciate you and your wife for being there, as you have many, many times. It's just a lot of fun.
It is, and, you know, I had at least two people tell me that they seen a side of you that they didn't think was there. They thought you were always very serious. And I said, well, when it comes to the facts, he is, but when it comes to a story like this, it could use a little tune-up.
I'll tell you what the true fact of my personality is. And I'm not trying to elaborate and be egotistical in any way, shape, or form. But I always believe in trying to do the due diligence for a job, try to do my best at the job. But when it's time to lay your cards on the table and have some fun, I'm right there at the top of the list, boy. I'm ready to laugh and giggle and have a good time.
Well, I seen Helen at church yesterday, and she didn't show any signs of any wounds or anything. I believe she'll be all right.
Helen was Annie Oakley with her little water pistol, I'll tell you.
I like that kind of the underarm shot that you made. That's, you know, you've been watching way too many Westerns.
Keith, God bless you, man. Thanks for brightening up my morning. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You bet.
All right.
Bye.
What he's talking about is, over at Denny's last week at our lunch bunch, Terry kind of had the feelings of summer. And, you know, all the fun things, you know, red, white, and blue summer. And there were a couple of squirt guns on the tables. Oh, that's all I needed. I didn't start it, though. Helen, if you're listening, you were the one that shot at me first, and then the war continued. We had a good time. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Oh, my goodness sakes, going to be warm weather. Well, it's summertime, for Pete's sakes. What do you expect? You're not wearing your mucklucks. Anyway, stop into Ramsey Heating and Electric and check out the air filters for your air conditioners. That's right. You can buy one or a case of 12 and get discount pricing at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Open at 7:30 till 5 Monday through Friday, where they always provide warm winters and very cool summers at Ramsey Heating and Electric. Also want to acknowledge Denny's Restaurant. Like we were talking just a moment ago, what a fun time. And Thomas walked in the room to go around and say hello to everybody. I got to admit, I kind of nailed him in the back with a water pistol. Am I sorry? No. And I had a good time. Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley, and it is America's Diner. I urge you to stop in and enjoy all the great food and really get to know the nice people there. You're going to have a great time and a great meal. And they also have a location at 291 Pole Line in Twin Falls. Denny's Restaurant, the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch, and yes, they are America's Diner. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. A couple of the things I want to talk about today. The case in Twin Falls. You know, there has been a lot of finger pointing. There have been a lot of the Times News and the city council saying, well, you did this, you did that. And Matt Christensen, editor from the Times News, had a complete editorial in the paper yesterday. But there were a couple of paragraphs where I beg to differ with my dear editor, Matt Christensen. About 8 years ago, when the Times News decided to come out with a bunch of stories against me as being a racist, it kind of counterbalances what he said in his op-ed piece yesterday in the paper, and I'll read this. He said, the Times News does not report stories it cannot confirm. That's interesting. So until my reporters bring me a story with hard facts, court documents, police reports, and confirmation from the investigators or eyewitness sources, we didn't have a story suitable for print. Matt, it's too bad you didn't use that same philosophy when your newspaper at that time came after me. There was no substantiated facts whatsoever. And then the Times News, in his op-ed piece, he said there was a question, why should we believe your reporting instead of other accounts online? And Christensen's answer was, because the Times News reports the truth. Well, Matt, don't wear your silver hat and your big star and look like Matt Dillon, because quite frankly, that's not all. That's not going to float the boat in a lot of instances. My story in particular, I'd be more than happy, and this is an open welcome for Matt to have the backbone to come on this program and talk about how they treated me 8 years ago versus what's going on today. I'd be more than happy for that. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. And the number to call, 678-1191. You know, they just absolutely are the best at what they do. They really care about you. You are their primary concern. And helping you get back to feeling like you, that is what it's all about. So please, remember, they know all the exercises, all the sports medicine. They've got the only hydrotherapy pool of its kind in this area. So I'm urging you to stop over and see them or give them a call today, and they can help. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 678-1191. Also want to acknowledge our friends at Berry Equipment and Rental. They have all the equipment to get the job done right. 3 locations, South Lincoln and Jerome, Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. All your equipment rentals, all your retail equipment sales, and a lot of people don't realize this, but the very best of parts and service, too. They can fix it, I'll tell you. And you check out all the great buys and all the great leases, whether it's on the Doosan loaders, the Bobcat equipment, Coyote, Walker, whatever. They've got it all. As I said, they have the equipment to get the job done right. Berry Equipment and Rental. And 3 locations, Jerome, Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. All right, give me some calls, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, I have said from the get-go of the story in Twin Falls, a very, very sad story for the juveniles and also the refugee community and also the rest of us, a very sad story. And I still am not satisfied with all the so-called facts. I still am not satisfied by listening to or reading the, let's say, liberal account of things, and I'm still am not satisfied that we know exactly all that's going on. But I do know this, that everyone has a right to their opinion. And of all people, Bill Maher from HBO, an avowed liberal, said something that was very, very profound the other day. He said, if you, meaning you, me, or anyone, and I'm paraphrasing, if you or I are afraid of something, it's not a phobia. It is absolutely a fear of something. You are afraid of it. And not to be belittled. But automatically, when you don't want someone in here, whether they're refugees or whether they're Muslims or whether they're representing something that you don't want in your neighborhood, and you voice an opinion, oh, you're an Islamophobe, and they right away pigeonhole people into certain categories. You know what? Let's just talk about likes and dislikes this morning. Now, number one, I like the Western culture. I like our lifestyle. I like the individualism and the ruggedness of where we live and how we live. I love the attitude of farm and ranch families in the way that they raise their kids and raise a future generation to take over this country. I love the way that we stand and are proud of our flag. I love the way that we salute our flag at the 4th of July celebrations, like what's going to happen next week. I love the patriotism. I can never say enough in honor of our military, for those that have fought in all the previous wars and conflicts and those that are going to battle for our country now. But I will never stand up for and say anything too good about people that are coming here with a goal of changing our culture, changing our methods, and not assimilating. I can't buy into that. I won't buy into that. And what happened over in Britain with the so-called Brexit, the exit of the European Union from Britain, is something that I think is very foreboding about what could and possibly should happen here in this United States. One of the big reasons that citizens over in Great Britain wanted to get out of the Eastern Union was the demands by Brussels and others to accept all these refugees, everybody come on in, all the immigrants welcome, and people were being overrun in their communities with cultures and people and attitudes that didn't fit. And they had enough. And they voted to leave the Eastern Union. Now, here's what's really scary that I heard this morning, and I turned on the news at about 10 minutes to 4 when I got up, and there is talk that some people are going to start pushing within the British government and within Parliament to disavow the vote and supersede the vote and stay in the European Union. And from what I heard this morning, that is like inviting chaos and inviting riots and inviting total mess within their country. What's happening over there should be a sounding board for what we need to do over here. The people over there said enough. The people over there spoke out. The people over there said they wanted their power back as people. They wanted their vote to count. They wanted to make a say and have a say in what government was steamrolling over them. And I hope it happens here. Your thoughts, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. By the way, I want to brag a little bit about Nathan Harris Plumbing NG, next generation plumbing for all your plumbing service needs. One call, that's all, 431-8633. Drips, leaks, clogs, main water line repair, water heaters, softeners, everything, 24/7. Nathan serves you. Very polite, very conscientious. He does the job. Harris Plumbing NG, 431-8633. You call them with your plumbing needs today. Really good folks. And don't forget the Rupert 4th of July celebration. You know what? We had Nathan Gibbons. I'm tied up with Nathan's here all of a sudden. Jason Gibbons on our program last week. And he's the chairman of the great big Rupert 4th of July celebration that's going to start this week, June 30th, and go through the 4th of July. Wow. With the theme, The Land That I Love, Grand Marshals Bert and Elaine Stevenson. What great Grand Marshals. I wonder if they're going to throw candy out or whatever. And a Wild West Shootout, honorary Sheriff Chuck Dahlry. It is going to be a lot of fun. Don't miss it. The great big, always fantastic Rupert 4th of July celebration coming up starting on June 30th and going through the 4th of July. You're going to love it. Just be there. All right, caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. Can we get a little closer to the truth this time?
Yeah, go ahead.
There's one reporter, I assume he's a reporter or a Hillary plant, that said, Trump's reaction to this deal was, oh, good, I will be able to make a lot more money now. And that is not the way it is. But this comes over ABC, NBC, and CBS, and CNN, that these are facts, but they are not.
Well, wait a minute.
When Donald Trump's crew get these things out in the open, like Hillary does. She makes a brash statement like that, and then it becomes the worry of the land.
Well, wait a minute, though, Keith.
No retaliation.
Wait a minute, though. We deal in facts, and let's talk facts here for a minute. Trump was over there to discuss and talk about their golf course over in that area. And as it panned out, the vote for Brexit had taken place, and quite frankly, it is going to make him more money. It was a truthful statement to the point where, yeah, it's going to make him more money, but he's a businessman. And Trump absolutely did nothing wrong, said nothing wrong, and Hillary and her absolutely destitute Democrat friends are trying to make a mountain out of a molehill. Listen, if you, Keith Cottom, owned a golf course, and you were over there and it was celebrating the open of this golf course with the rest of the Trump family and everything, yeah, it's going to make you more money. What's wrong in stating the truth? But to turn it into an evil like Hillary is doing is despicable.
Okay, number one, that golf course opening was planned months in advance.
That's true. That's true.
He was just merely following his itinerary.
Yep.
Excuse me. I think that Trump did absolutely nothing wrong.
That's right.
I'll tell you what, this venomous Elizabeth Warren, I've never seen a woman that has a tongue like that.
I am telling you that if Hillary names her as her running mate for vice president, I am going to sit there and smile and smirk and have a heyday. This woman is a fraud. This woman is a liar. She's already proved that many, many times. She is absolutely destitute of any moral value whatsoever and any work ethic. I mean, this woman is a waste, and I really do hope that Hillary picks her as her running mate.
Yeah, and incidentally, she is a disgrace to the Indian nations. To say that she is one of them just so she could get a free ride in college.
I agree with you. I got to pay some bills here, Keith, but I do appreciate your call. God bless you, man. Thanks.
You bet.
Thank you. Calls are welcome. Come on, I'm going to turn this over to you a little bit right now this morning, and I want to hear your opinion about what's going on with Brexit, what's going on with perhaps that case in Twin Falls. Not all the answers, but one thing I want to say real quick. To people that send threats, perhaps to city council members or to anyone else, don't do that. Don't get involved in that. That just lowers your status and lowers your argument. When you want to say something to somebody, say it face to face. But, I get so many veiled threats here on emails and everything. And, all it does is just make me mad. And it certainly does not raise the quality or the caliber of the person sending that quote-unquote threat. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Don't forget the lovely Dr. Christine Pickup. She knows all about hearing. She knows all about how to help your hearing. And she is the only locally owned and independent hearing healthcare practice in southern Idaho. Call today for a hearing screening and let her help you. She's right across from the Minidoka Hospital emergency room, and the number to call, 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Caller, I'm going to ask you a big favor. I've got to give away some cinnamon rolls. Can you call me? I'll tell you what, I'll take your call real quick. Go ahead, and then I'll go with the cinnamon rolls. Go ahead. Good morning. You're on the air.
Okay, good morning, Deb. I think that the Brexit was a good thing for Great Britain because they'll be able to take control of their own economy again. They'll be able to take control of their culture again, and that's a good thing. I think they were just sick and tired of being told what to do by globalists that were in another country that had absolutely no idea what was going on in Great Britain. As far as the case in Twin Falls, well, that's still, yet to be determined. It's kind of up in the air still. We got more facts, but we don't have everything. And that's the way I feel about that.
Yeah. But as far as, someone, I don't know, they made a illusion there that there was somebody that was sending some veiled threats on emails and everything to city council members and members of other parts of the media, etc. That is absolutely stupid. It's always been my intention, if I got something to say, I'm going to say it, and I'm not going to make a veiled threat or send an email.
Yeah, say it face to face, and you can withstand the consequence.
There you go. I appreciate your call. You're a good man. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right. Hey, we're going to give away some cinnamon rolls. And these are to Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert. Oh, my goodness sakes. What a great restaurant. What a great bakery, 530 East Street in Rupert. And here's the question of the day for a first-time winner to win a half dozen cinnamon rolls from Sophie's Chatterbox. And if you're the winner, all you have to do is call them at 436-0354 and let them know when you'll be in to get those cinnamon rolls. This is an easy question. I think I might have asked this one other time, but my brain wasn't functioning too well this morning, so I'm going to ask it again. Who was the country singer that starred in the movie True Grit with John Wayne? Oh, that's an easy one. Who was the country singer that starred in the movie True Grit with John Wayne? First person to call, 436-2244, will win if you have the correct answer. Now, first-time winners only. Don't cheat. If you've won before, you're ineligible. But give us a call. Who was the country music singer that starred in the movie True Grit with John Wayne? Caller, good morning. What's your name?
Glenn Campbell.
What's your name?
Ray Bagby.
Is this Ray Bagby?
This is him.
Is this old Stagecoach Wheels?
This is him.
Well, for heaven's sakes, Bagby, congratulations. It is Glenn Campbell, and you've won a half dozen cinnamon rolls. You call Sophie's and let them know when you're going to be in to pick them up, all right?
I sure will, and we eat over there quite a bit, and it's a wonderful place.
All right, well, Bagby, you eat anywhere. You go everywhere.
That's true, I'm not too picky.
No, I know that, but you were at Denny's, and then we're over at Sophie's, and now you got cinnamon rolls. I mean, you're all over the place.
We'll build one more coach for them cinnamon rolls.
Hey, listen, let me ask you a quick question. When is the coach, this Concord Stagecoach, when's it going to be all finished?
Well, my next due date was shooting for the Pioneer Days in Oakley.
Uh-huh.
And we just might make that one because I ordered leather. It's supposed to be here tomorrow, and we're going in the leather work. And, of course, that's getting toward the end, and then paint.
Now, Ray, what about the horses to pull it? Is this, do you have the horses, the hitch already lined up?
No, I don't. But I run into a deal yesterday with a guy that has forehead, and I'm going to get hold of him today if I can. He didn't answer last night.
And hopefully I'll have it all lined up, hopefully, because I don't think we're going to find a team of our own in time and use them and make sure they're okay.
Well, now, when you hitch a team up to something like this for the first time, I mean, boy, after all the labor of love that you've put into that stagecoach, you want to really kind of know you're not going to have a runaway, don't you?
You betcha. And we'll hook on the hay rack and go through town here in Declo, and then I'll hook on this chuck wagon and go through town because it's a little rougher construction. And then when everything looks and feels right, then we'll hook the coach up and go through Declo 3 or 4 times. It's just too dangerous to just hook up and hopefully get through.
Now, let me ask you this. You are doing everything according to the specifications in building this Concorde stagecoach that it was, what, back in 1875 or so?
The model, they changed some things in 1886. So we're just kind of shooting for the model that Abbott Downing built from 1886 on to 1903. Okay.
Now, with these stagecoaches, they were all manufactured where? Back in Concord, Massachusetts? Is that correct?
New Hampshire.
I see.
Concord, New Hampshire.
Okay. And then what did they do? Did they kind of supply them all over the country? I mean, how many Concord stagecoaches were made during their time in business?
Well, the book says there was 3,000 manufactured.
Oh, my goodness.
And it's odd that there's so few of them that even survive, but they shipped some to South Africa, Argentina, Brazil, England, and then, of course, the rest of them here. But I don't think there was over about 100 that were ever exported overseas.
Now, Ray, when they went to build one of these stagecoaches back then in 1886, what in the world? I mean, how long did it take? Did they have kind of like 10, 12 workers working? And how did they turn them out? How fast?
Well, I wish I could read somewhere and see how long once they started, but the thing of it was, at the height of Abbott and Downing's career, is actually the sons that had it then, they had 400 employees.
Wow.
And in New York, they had another plant doing some things that had 115, and then they had 17 people working in Vermont in their wood, cutting wood and sawing it and seasoning it.
Wow.
So that many people working, I'm not too sure, but it probably could roll one out. Maybe they couldn't possibly build one a week, but I don't know. That's a lot of people.
Well, now, let me ask you this question, and I really appreciate your call, because your workmanship and your craftsmanship with building these stagecoaches, when you look at how they made these, and they tried to make them en masse, like you said, they had 3,000, they didn't have all the fancy tools. They didn't have all the exact computer images and everything else. Does it amaze you how perfect their job was?
It's actually beyond amazement, with auger bits and hand tools and saws, and working with hardwood, oak and hickory and ash. Our power tools, we just have to keep them sharp, but to do that by hand, those guys were tough and brilliant.
Wow. And when they shipped them, last question, and then I got to go, Ray, but when they shipped them around the United States, I mean, did they just put them on wheels and put a team of horses to them and take them to the locations, or how did they ship them?
Well, it's quite a story. Of course, the railroad ran usually to Omaha, and then they would, from there on, they'd hitch them up and disperse them. But some of those that went to California, they loaded on a ship and went around the Horn and all the way to Sacramento.
Oh, my goodness.
It might take almost a year to deliver them to California.
Oh, my goodness sakes. Well, Ray Bagby, I've got nothing but respect for you, my friend. This is a labor of love, and I'll tell you what, I can't wait to see it when it's finished. Thanks for calling in, and enjoy those cinnamon rolls from Sophie's Chatterbox.
We will, and I sure thank you for the cinnamon rolls and appreciate your friendship, and you have a good day.
Oh, thank you, sir. Well, I tell you what, I have seen pictures of his stagecoach that he's building, Ray Bagby, out there at Declo. Oh, my goodness, this man is an artist, and also the people that work with him. Don't forget, I got to pay some bills here. Calls are welcome. Minicash Sales, let's not forget them at 1321 East Main Street in Burley, right across from the airport. And they sponsor, of course, Dr. History on Tuesdays at 10:06. Don't forget, they've got all your roofing material. They've got all your shingles. And, oh, boy, now you want to remember this. They can help upgrade your windows, too, with the Western windows and save on your heating and cooling bills. Good folks. Zach and the rest of the crew at Minicash Sales, 1321 East Main Street in Burley, the sponsor of Dr. History. Also want to remind everybody, too, about our friends that want you to come on over and celebrate at Rupert's 4th of July celebration. And that's, of course, Doc's Pizza at 514 6th Street in Rupert. My goodness, delicious pizza. Delicious cinnamon sticks. Oh, everything just right. And they've got all-you-can-eat Mondays and Thursdays for only $8. Pizza, salad, soup, breadsticks, drinks. Oh, my, starting at 5 p.m. Doc's Pizza, 514 6th Street in Rupert, saying, come on over to the Rupert 4th of July celebration. And along with them, Dixon Oil. I tell you what, Daryl and the crew at Dixon Oil, they're always supportive of all the events that are going on over in Rupert. They're located at 602 South 2nd in Rupert, and they have the best of what you're looking for with all your oils and your gas and your fuel and your heating and propane needs. I'll tell you what, stop in and see them today. Dixon Oil, and they wish you and yours a very happy 4th of July celebration. Well, it is your turn. Give me a call on the landline, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What do you think about this story? The fire department of New York now has been given an edict by Mayor Bill de Blasio, and de Blasio has told them, the fire department of New York, that they have to take a sensitivity training course on transgenders. It's called Trans 101. And it starts tomorrow on Tuesday. And what the course is, Bill de Blasio told the fire department they had to do this. They have to learn the correct way to interact with transgender people. Yeah. Now, what they're going to be doing at this seminar in downtown Brooklyn is go over correct terminology and even how to ask for a person's preferred pronoun. Are we to that point in this country? I mean, for heaven's sakes, the fire department now and police, etc., they have to be scared to death that if they don't use the correct pronoun, according to the transgender person's wishes, there could be lawsuits, etc. My goodness, this is going nuts. The people in this class are going to be learning which words are no-nos and what the difference between gender identity and gender expression is. Oh, my goodness. The former being the gender someone identifies as, and the latter being how gender is conveyed through appearance. You know, this is just getting crazy. And employees of city pools back in New York State have also begun training for Wednesday's opening of the summer swim season, where gender sensitivity issues are more likely to arise in locker rooms and bathrooms. And they said from a Parks Commission spokesperson, it's especially important for Parks employees to take this training because they work in a place that involves changing clothes. And the taxpayers foot the bill. You know, where do you draw the line? Let me just ask you a question out there, audience. Where do we draw the line? Where do we draw the line on what the other person or the other group wants and demands you to say or not do or do? Where do you draw the line on their demands? Give me a call. I'll do a weather forecast, and then give me a jingle in your answer, okay? Right now, we'd like to thank the Urgent Cares, Kyle James and his wonderful staff with Riverview Urgent Care at 382 North Overland in Burley, right across from Walmart. Twin Falls Urgent Care at 2392 Addison Avenue East in Twin Falls near Kmart. And, of course, the Jerome Urgent Care at 133 West Avenue A in Jerome. Minor emergencies, major care, no appointments necessary. It's quicker, less expensive. My goodness, what are you waiting for? These people can and they will help you. The Urgent Cares. You stop in and see them if you need to today. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather as we get ready to kick off another work week and Independence Weekend. Looks like mostly sunny skies for today. Looking at slightly breezy conditions, winds out of the southeast, right around 11 miles an hour, but a high of 95 tonight, low of 60 tomorrow. Pretty much the same as today. Mostly sunny skies, high of 94 with an overnight low of 59. Pretty much the same for Wednesday as well. Mostly sunny, high of 94, overnight low of 61. Dropping down to mostly sunny and 90 for Thursday, and looks like mid-80s for Friday. Yesterday's high was 85. The overnight low was 45. That is your weather for Zebeth Ranch.
Gina, thank you. Brought to you by the Urgent Cares, Riverview Urgent Care in Burley at 382 North Overland, Twin Falls Urgent Care, 2392 Addison Avenue East in Twin, and Jerome Urgent Care, 133 West Avenue A in Jerome. Minor emergency, major care. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Is that me?
It is. Go ahead, sir.
There was a progressive advertisement this morning that absolutely rubbed me wrong. And you might watch for it. And shows Flo and her family around this campground.
Yeah.
They're off on a vacation somewhere. And at the end of it, it says, no, they're on a cell phone, no, Grandpa ain't dead yet.
Oh, brother.
Yeah.
I did not see that ad, but you said it was in this morning's paper, is that correct?
No, it wasn't in the paper. It was just, I was on one of the weather channels.
Oh.
Predicting what I'm going to be doing this week for water, and that just, boy, it irritated me in the wrong way, but it shows where this country's headed.
It certainly does, with a lack of respect for not only our elderly, but a lack of respect for each other. You know, I'm going to go find that.
Our military and what this country's provided for this low life that we got, or percentage of low life that we got coming up.
I agree.
Yeah.
Earl, you are always
I'm sure you'll catch on.
I'll take a look for it, and I'll look it up. Thank you. God bless you, man. Appreciate you being a caller. Thank you. Caller number 2, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, good morning, Zach.
Hello, Tony.
Back to what's happening here in Twin Falls, if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
The education czars in Twin Falls at CSI knew by bringing all these freeloaders into Twin Falls, they would have enough money to build their educational empire. And that's what's happened here. This Twin Falls has changed so much since Mary and I had moved here.
You know,
it all has to do with the big boys in the education system using government money to expand the number of people that are coming into Twin Falls to CSI.
Right. Let me ask you something, Tony. Let's talk about culture. Now, what was it that drew you and Mary to live in Magic Valley and specifically Twin Falls? What was the culture that you were attracted to?
Well, we had lived in big cities before, and up there in Rupert was kind of quiet, and Mary was really kind of bored because she used to be in, city life. and we went down to Twin Falls, which many times I wish we were back up that way again for what's happening here in Twin.
Yeah. What have you noticed there in your particular corner of the world? What has changed? What have you seen as potential changes? What have you seen as negatives? I mean, what are you concerned about?
I'm concerned that, I've seen change over 50 years ago back where I came from, and I'm seeing the same thing happen here now. Twin Falls is slowly turning into a foreign country. You go into our markets, and you see these people that can't speak English. They're walking out with 2 carriages full of food and getting into brand new vehicles. Now, if these people were here because they're destitute, that's one thing to help them. But they're here to be a freeloader on you and I and the rest of the people that are picking up the tab for them. And that's really got me upset.
I don't blame you, Tony, and I'm going to be voicing quite a few of your opinions, my opinions, with a guest that I have scheduled later on this week in exactly what you're talking about. Tony, you and Mary are dear friends. God bless you, and thank you for your call this morning.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. And he's got a valid point there. They come here to this country and under the guise of being a refugee, and they receive free housing, free health care, free education, and many, many other amenities, and the United States taxpayer is on the hook. Caller, stay there. I'll be right with you, I promise. Don't forget the 2016 Silver State Stampede, July 7, 8, and 9 in Elko, Nevada at the Elko County Fairgrounds. Oh, the legend lives on. This is going to be a ripping good event. Thursday night, the World Championship Old West Bronc riding, along with that tri-tip dinner, and then on Friday and Saturday night, the PRCA Rodeo. It is going to be big. It's going to be great. You better not miss it, along with lots of things like the Ring of Fear. Don't miss the 2016 Silver State Stampede in Elko, Nevada, July 7, 8, and 9. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb Bell.
Yes, sir.
I just want to make a personal comment about last week's Lunch Bunch.
Go ahead.
How much fun I had and how enjoyable it was. The great people, the great food, the great company. It was time.
Well, I tell you what, it was a wonderful time, and I want to thank you. I know who this is, and I want to thank your lovely wife for all the help that you've given us, getting things organized as we roll in there as close to 11:30 as we can. Jimmy, God bless you and Frida. I thank you so much, and that's really nice of you. It was a fun time, and we'll see what we can do to top it next month.
Okay, I just wanted to let everybody know that there's part of the group that wasn't there, what they missed.
Okay. Bring your squirt guns, Jimmy. God bless you, man. Thanks so much. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Oh, we had a good time. I mean, I'm not so sure the management was really tickled about our squirt guns. Maybe it didn't bother anybody, but we were having some long-range water control. Let me tell you that. Hey, don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. I am blessed to have them as our major sponsor of this program. They've got all your tires for all your vehicles and all your driving, and what more do you need? I mean, there you go. They are absolutely safety conscious about you, and they offer even a free pre-trip safety check, visual inspection of a lot of the components of your car, like the brakes and the front end alignment and the battery. They help you drive carefully. And of course, they have the best in brake service, the very best in shocks and struts and front end alignments, batteries. It's all there at all 7 locations, with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and my buddy Randy on Overland in Burley. The best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. I tell you, we did have a good time at Lunch Bunch last week. If you're not a part of it, you'd better get a part of it. I'll tell you what, it's a lot of fun. Hey, congratulations go out to Debbie Critchfield. And she has been named the Idaho Board of Education secretary, the board secretary. Debbie has done an outstanding job helping us with the program on Thursdays, Cassia County School Days, and I hope that continues with her help. And she's a lady that's really concerned about education here in the state of Idaho, and now she is the new secretary for the Idaho Board of Education. Caller, I've got exactly a minute left. Go real fast.
Okay. I've been on and off the phone, so I haven't heard a lot of what you were talking this morning, but I did hear a little on that editorial deal on the Times agenda paper.
Right.
I'm not going to call it the Times News, and that's all they're doing. They're just trying to run an agenda down our throat. And then at the lunch bunch, there's a lot of collateral damage with you two guys in the squirt gun.
What do you mean, sir?
I mean, everybody looking up at the ceiling wondering where that water was coming from.
The funniest one was Ray Bagby, because I shot clear across the room and hit him in the ear, and I'll tell you what, he was stunned.
It was hilarious. It was hilarious.
Well, we had a good time, and we need to let our hair down more often. And thank you for your redneck cup holders.
I think they were a pretty good hit.
They were, and we'll look forward to more, buddy. Thank you so much. Appreciate your call. All right.
Be more next month.
All right. Thanks, Doug. Appreciate you.
You bet.
We got to take a run to the news, and we'll be back in about 6 minutes with our report from the Senior Junction, along with Vicky's Country Gardens and the Alliance Defending Freedom this next hour. Don't you go away. Oh my, here we go. Hour number 2, Zeb at the Ranch. Good morning to you. I hope you're having a great day. I'm Zeb Bell with our Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you, our major sponsor. Thank you very much. And, of course, some of our great advertisers, including Western Way Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Way Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Way Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Way Services.
You know, I want to emphasize again to get on the route service like we have been for years here at Zeb at the Ranch, and they come by, very reliable, very nice people, pick up your garbage, it's gone, it's out of here. Always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, call the number 734-6969. Locally owned and operated, you call them, tell them Zeb sent you. Western Waste Services, really nice people. Hey, on Thursdays, this is a fun segment. On Thursdays, we've got a new segment on our program called The Old Fishing Hole, and it's sponsored by Sportsman's Warehouse in Twin Falls at 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin. I mean, Reese and Josh and the whole crew. Josh is actually out in the hinterlands, either standing in a creek someplace fishing for trout or sitting in a boat someplace while the program's going on. This is fun, and you get all your fishing equipment right there at Sportsman's Warehouse, 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls, and they sponsor the Old Fishing Hole on Thursdays at about 9:12. By the way, too, we also want to say thank you very, very much to a wonderful gentleman, his family, and staff at Hanson Mortuary, and that's, of course, Joel Heward. Thank you so much for what you do, so community-minded, and boy, right now with the 4th of July celebration coming up in Rupert, you can bet you'll see them up on the city square. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, with very flexible hours to serve you, and of course they can travel to rural towns and churches to help you and your family with all the arrangements when there's the passing of a loved one. Always with the highest ethical standards, with unquestioned integrity. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, 436-5636. Right now it's time time to find out what's going to be a function at the junction, the Senior Junction on Overland in Burley. Here's the lovely Senior Junction manager, Catherine. Good morning. How are you, Catherine?
Good morning, Bob. We're doing good.
You know, let's tell everybody, we had a little meeting the other day, and what was the meeting for? I mean, we're trying to change and increase the knowledge and also the people involved at the Senior Junction. Take it from there.
Right. We just changed our name to the Senior Junction, and what we are doing is refreshing our image. And we want to get awareness out there about all of the programs that are so vital to this community with the senior population and the Meals on Wheels program.
Yeah, well, tell us a little bit about some of it. I mean, people come in there every day and they have lunch and there's other activities, you know, there's things going on for people, whether it's woodworking or whether it's bingo or whatever it might be. But there's a lot of involvement in other things, too, to help the community, isn't there?
Right. We are doing a lot of different things with the community, and we want to get that information out. The Meals on Wheels program is the biggest program that we are doing at our center. We serve meals every day, and we have lunch from noon to 1, and all of those proceeds go to help fund our Meals on Wheels program so that no senior goes hungry. And we have lots of other activities. We have pinochle, we have bingo, we have wood carving. There's just a ton of excitement. We're going to have the Pilgrim's Pride dinner coming up in November. And, of course, the Great Pumpkin Caper is back this year, so we're really excited.
You know, Catherine, let me ask you this question. Why? Why did you want to get into this kind of work? Why did you want to be a manager of a senior center? What were some of the reasons why you got into this line of work every day to help people?
Well, you know, there are so many great opportunities in this community to help different populations, but the elderly population happens to be one of the populations that just gets kind of overlooked. We fall through the cracks when we get a little bit older. People don't think about this community as a needful community. And so I wanted to become an advocate for the seniors in our area and help educate the community about all the things that they can do to help these wonderful seniors who have given so much to our community throughout the years.
I'll tell you what, you're doing a wonderful job. Now, quickly, I don't want to let you go without talking a little bit about the great food over there at the Senior Junction. What's on the menu for this week?
Well, today we're having hot beef sandwiches with potatoes, gravy, fruit salad, and a delicious dessert. We have some great food. I did want to make sure that we tell your viewers that we are going to be closed on July 4th.
Okay.
So there won't be any meals that day. We will do the Meals on Wheels the Friday prior, so the seniors will get the meals for Monday, but our senior center will be closed. And I also wanted to give a great big thank you to the Minnecaja Auto collectors who gave us a very generous donation along with Adams Petroleum. Those two companies or organizations stepped up and really did a wonderful service for the seniors.
Hey, by the way, let's just highlight that a little bit. If there's any business out there that knows the value of senior citizens and the power of senior citizens and would like to help contribute to the Senior Junction, we're making a personality change and a facelift change, and we're welcoming more people. How do they get a hold of you, Catherine?
They can call me at 208-878-8646, or our address is 2421 Overland Avenue in Burley, Idaho, 83318. And either one of those, you can get a hold of me. We also have a email address at seniorcenter, all spelled out, at pmt.org.
Okay. Well, I want to tell you that my wife and I are very honored to be working with you and the new Senior Junction right there at 2421 Overland in Burley. And it's going to be a lot of fun, and we encourage everybody to be a part of it. Any final thoughts? I got about 30 seconds left.
I think that everybody should come out to lunch today, see what we're about, and if you want to help donate, we are doing a $5 donation will help will feed the next meal for a senior in your area.
All righty. There is the lovely Catherine, the manager, director of the Senior Junction on Overland and Burley. Catherine, God blessing, and we'll be calling you and talking to you very shortly. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Zeb.
All right, take care. Wonderful lady and a lot of nice people over there at the Senior Junction, and they're really doing some neat things. Hey, real quick, I want to remind you about the Rupert 4th of July celebration. Oh, my goodness sakes. Talk about neat things. Magic Valley Carpet is saying, come on over to enjoy all the activity on the 4th at 613 D Street in Rupert. They're just off the square. They've got all your flooring needs, all your carpet, hardwood, vinyl, laminate, tile, all of that, and professional installation. Magic Valley Carpet in Rupert. Along with Haskin Insurance Service, 629 Fremont Street in Rupert. Oh, my goodness, nice people. Mike and Dustin and Dawn and Terry. Oh, my goodness, they can help you with all your home, auto, farm, life, or health insurance. Be sure and remember them. Haskin Insurance Service in Rupert, inviting you to the great big Rupert 4th of July celebration. Well, right now, we're going to go by phone line and talk to the lovely Miss Vicky at Vicky's Country Gardens. Good morning, lovely Miss Vicky. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. It's a beautiful morning so far.
Well,
it's going to get a little warm this afternoon.
It's going to get a little warm, and here we are at midsummer. And just kind of give us a general synopsis of the gardens and what's ready to pick and what's ready to eat and what's going on in the gardens.
Well, I think the gardens are growing really well right now. We've had enough heat now to kick everything in, as far as I can tell anyhow, from what people are telling me and from just watching some of the stuff we've got planted. Peas should be about, if you had them in at the right time, peas should be about ready to pick. The tomatoes and stuff are growing real well and starting to bloom good. This is the time to watch your watering and stuff like that. But on the tomatoes, a lot of times it's a little fact that a lot of people don't know, and that is that tomatoes do a lot of the pollinating at night. So if you're having trouble with tomatoes setting on later on in the summer when things, the blooms are falling off before anything sets on, I know this sounds dumb, but go out of an evening after dark and just take the plant and just lightly shake it, so that pollen will start to move between plants and between flowers. Huh. And it'll help with setting on a few more tomatoes.
I did not know that. So in the dark of night, those little tomatoes are doing their thing.
They're bashful.
Okay. Now, what else? What about the corn? What about sweet corn? I can't wait for sweet corn.
Well, the corn, depending on when you got it planted, but the month of July is usually the month when you want to what we call side dress your corn. Corn needs a lot of nitrogen. And so about the month of July, it gets up about 2 feet tall, 2 to 2.5 foot tall, and kind of seems to stop growing at that point in time. Go out and whether if you sprinkle or if you flood irrigate, however, just put a little bit of just a basic good nitrogen fertilizer, like lawn fertilizer, the 2155, something to that effect. Basically, just a good high nitrogen fertilizer. Go down along, don't put it right next to the corn, but come out away from the corn about 2-3 inches. Put a little row of fertilizer down alongside your rows of corn, and then water it in. And you'll see that corn take right back off and start growing again. It's a very heavy nitrogen feeder, and it needs an extra boost about this time of year, about the month of July. Depending on when you got it in, you want it to be up about 2 feet tall, and then give it a side dressing of nitrogen, and it'll never slow down, and you'll have a lot better corn crop.
You know, I had a letter from a listener, and to be honest with you, I'm confused about how to read this. I'm not trying to make less of the letter, but it was kind of hard to understand. But this person said that I've been told that we should not get the leaves on the plant wet when we water. We should only irrigate from the ground down through the stem. I don't understand that, so please clarify it for me.
Okay, what they're going for is if you water during the heat of the day and you're sprinkling and you get the leaves wet, sometimes you can sun scorch your leaves. They'll sunburn just like when you're out on the lake and the water, you know, the reflection of the sun off the water, you can get a worse sunburn. Plants are the same way.
Oh.
Besides the fact it puts a lot of humidity down into your plant, which can start to breed a lot of fungus at the same time. Watering on the ground puts the water where it needs to be, down on the roots.
Okay.
And it waters the ground. It goes down deep and waters that way. Watering over the top, especially in the heat, do not do it during the heat of the day.
Okay.
If you're sprinkle and you're going to water early mornings when it's really still cool and that water can dissipate before that sun gets hot and hits it, or do it late in the evening when the plant can absorb that water and utilize it and not have the extra heat hitting the leaves and sunburning leaves.
All right. Now you mentioned fungus, and you and I have joked about there's a fungus among us, but boy, what do you do when you see that? What do you do? Throw your hands up in the air and scream and holler and dig up the garden, or what do you do?
No, you come in and you get some fungicide and start spraying very diligently. I've been saying all along, get a fungicide going and do it on a regular basis. Keep your plants healthy, keep the fungus out of there, and you're going to be a lot better off than trying to clear it once it gets there. But if you're starting to, this is going to be a year we're going to see a lot of it. And so it's best to just come in and talk to us. We can set you up with a good fungicide. If you've got a good garden fungicide, of an evening, go out and start spraying. If you don't see any sign of fungus yet, do it about every 2 weeks. If you're seeing some spots on things and some things, do it about every 7 days. And then, and then see kind of how things go. But if you've got a sign of blight or anything in tomatoes, we're seeing it in the spuds, we're seeing it in the tomatoes, we're seeing it in peppers. If peppers get too wet, they start getting funny colored leaves, not growing good. Use a good fungicide on them, and I think you'll see things changing on them.
Okay.
Back your water off your peppers and stuff like that. They don't need a lot of water. But basically, if you'll fungicide your whole garden, it is not going to hurt a thing. All it's going to do is help and keep things healthy and keep them growing. But don't do it during the heat of the day.
Okay. Now, last week, I think it was last week, I had a letter about somebody said that varmints are eating on my tomatoes. Are they safe to eat if I cut around that little chunk that they've been nibbling on? And I had another letter this week, same thing. Varmints, the pesky old mice and the voles and everything. Is it safe to keep the corn and everything else, the tomatoes or whatever, if the varmints have been eating on that also?
Well, if it's the tomatoes that are laying down on the ground and that the mice have been running around in and eating, I would throw those away. If it's the ones that are up in the top of the bushes that the birds are hitting, they just come in and peck a hole in the side of it, then I wouldn't worry about it too much. You can go ahead and cut that out. But if the mice have been into them, of course, you know me and mice. I don't get along with them well. I don't want anything to do with them. So I would say chuck those and get rid of them because they do carry, mice and voles do carry disease.
All right.
Birds are not as bad. They come in and they'll just knock a hole in something, and you can kind of cut that out and still use it as far as tomatoes and that go. Corn and stuff, you're just going to basically have worms in there unless you've got raccoons. And if you've got raccoons, they eat the whole corn, then you don't have to worry about it because they've already got it and gone.
Okay. I wanted to take some time right now, and I wanted to share with the audience that you, Vicki, at Vicki's Country Garden, you really put a lot of due diligence into all the things that you have over there for products. And why don't you just elaborate a little bit, whether it's for the garden or whether it's for your landscaping or whatever. My goodness, you can help them with everything. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about what you've got.
Well, we can. We can help with simple landscape designs if you want to bring pictures or something like that in. Bring me a diagram, a drawing, something along that line, we'd be more than glad to help you with a simple design on putting perennials and shrubs and grasses and trees and things like that in. We've got all the product to do that with. We've got all the rock, the bark, all that kind of stuff to finish off your projects for the 4th. Everybody's kind of getting ready for the 4th, so we've still got a lot of nice petunias and some things like that could really put a splash of color in if you're needing that type of a thing, and we'd be more than glad to help you design something out for that, or just help you find the stuff that you need. We've still got a good supply of perennials. We're getting new ones all the time that are blooming, so if you're needing to redo a yard or something to that effect, come in and talk to us. If I can't do the work, I work with different landscapers and that can, and I can recommend you to go give these fellows a call, and between the two of us, we can pretty much solve any problem that you've got.
Well, you've got all the river rock, and you've got everything, don't you?
We do. We have that really pretty Montana river rock, the colored river rock. It has, when you put the water to it, it just bounces with color. Really looks nice and clean. Stays put, doesn't blow around in the wind. I've always said if that starts to blow, I'm leaving town, because that means we've got an awful high wind.
Okay. Now, one thing I wanted to ask you about is, what do people, during the 4th of July, there seems to be an overabundance of, oh my, we got to get this ready, all the relatives are coming over for the lawn party. I mean, can people kind of do things and fix things up and not really have to put a lot of time and effort into it?
Oh, yeah, you can go ahead and, you can, a lot of times, just by taking and putting a fresh layer of bark in, if you've got bark in your yard and it's looking a little dingy and a little black, and, bark does get dark and kind of moldy. You can take and just put a nice little light color, just a light coating of new bark in, and that just spruces things right up. Like I say, a little patch of petunias, they're not that expensive. You can put a little grouping here and there. Geraniums, petunias gives you that instant color. You can doll up a yard pretty fast, and it doesn't take a whole lot of money.
I was also going to ask you, we talked about this way back when we started our gardening show this spring, about the different names. Now, you mentioned petunia, and the first thing that ran to my mind was Porky Pig's girlfriend, Petunia. It wasn't the flower. That's true. Petunia pig, yes, that's what pretty much everybody thinks of. Like I say, I swear there's got to be somebody that has been paid an awful lot of money to sit and do nothing but think up dumb names for plants. I think that must be they must have a degree in stupidity, because there are some of the dumbest names in the world out there for plants, but that's just the way it goes. I mean, the botanical names are absolutely hilarious when you get into some of them. You have to be real careful how you say some of them. Well, on this program, between you and me, yes, caution is always acceptable. Thank you.
Yes, it is. That is for sure.
Hey, by the way, what about those people that have got fish tanks and they need all the decorative, I call them weeds, but what are they? I mean, you've got all that, don't you?
I don't have a lot of water plants this year, for the simple fact water stuff has really taken back seat to everything. I don't know if people have taken ponds out or if they just give up on them or just what, but I do still carry a line of the fish food, and we have the different chemicals to keep the water clear. I can still get pumps. If you have a pump that quits you and goes down, we've still got access to getting pretty much any size pump that you need, and we can figure out what size pump you need to do what you want to do if you're installing a new pond. And we just put in a new water feature here that's very simple, very quick. Didn't take a whole lot of time. It all took us about maybe an hour and a half, and it has nice sound, so they need to stop in and see that. It's just basically a really pretty little bubbling rock.
Well, there you go. Vicky's Country Garden at 185 South, 600 West of Paul, and the telephone number 438-5663 for the lovely Miss Vicky. Vicky, I want to extend you a very happy 4th of July.
Well, the same to you, Zeb, and to everyone, and let's all take it easy, be careful, be safe, and have a good family time, and have a marvelous 4th of July. And look for us in the parade, because we're going to be there. We're putting a float in this year.
Oh, God bless you, Vicky. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you later. God bless.
All right, thanks, Deb.
Thank you. Lovely Miss Vicky at Vicky's Country Gardens, 185 South, 600 West of Paul. I just really thoroughly enjoy having her on the program. Thank you very much. Oh, my goodness sakes. Let's also tell you about what's going on at Let's Ride. Yes, sirree, Bobby. Let's Ride 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the world. Oh, my goodness, with all the four-wheelers or the side-by-sides. Oh, they've got them all. And you know what? Super great prices right now on the 2016 models, because now pretty quick the 2017 are going to be coming in. Well, you'd better check it out. And they've got a phenomenal accessory department. Everything you need or might want to have is right there at Let's Ride. And a service department that can fix anything for you. So remember, Let's Ride 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the world. It is true. It's where the fun is sold. Also, want to remind you, too, about our friends Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Now, you know, life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits. Oh, yeah, I know. You're sitting there going, well, I don't like to talk about that. Well, we all have to. We all need to acknowledge that we need to make sure we're protected. So work with the best. Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Very dedicated and responsive to your needs. Highway 24 in Rupert. The number to call, make an appointment, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Really nice people. Okay, let's go to the phone line as I knocked all the papers off the top of my desk. And I believe we have Casey Maddox with us with the Alliance Defending Freedom, right, Wheels?
No, sir. He's for some reason not answering, so I'm going to try calling again, and hopefully he'll answer this time. If not, do we have a backup number?
That's the only number I have, but go ahead and try that again. Let's make sure I gave you the right number. Repeat it back to me, please.
Okay, so I have here 703.
Yep.
969.
Yes.
6801.
That is correct, sir. And keep trying, keep plugging away, would you?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you much. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Today is National Sunglasses Day. I didn't know they had a day, but they do. And for those of you that like to sport those sunglasses and look like some Hollywood star or starlet, wear your sunglasses. Today is National Sunglasses Day. Okay. Waiting for our guest with the Alliance Defending Freedom, and that's Casey Maddox, and hopefully Wheels is going to be able to catch him. Let's check and see. Do you have him?
I do, sir.
All right. Thank you very much, Wheels. Appreciate it. On the phone with us, Casey Maddox with the Alliance Defending Freedom. Good morning, Casey. How are you?
I'm doing great, Zeb. Thanks for having me on.
Well, it's always a pleasure to have any and all the folks with the Alliance Defending Freedom on our program. What is going on, and I want you to explain this lawsuit from a former Planned Parenthood director against Planned Parenthood. What's going on here?
Sure. Well, Sue Thayer is a former Planned Parenthood clinic director of many years, about 17 years in Iowa. And we have a fraud case pending against Planned Parenthood in Iowa, and the court has just ruled that case can go forward. Now, these are claims of many millions of dollars worth of Medicaid fraud, taking your taxpayer dollars and fraudulently using those funds by Planned Parenthood. So we're going to prosecute these frauds and make sure that Planned Parenthood is held accountable.
Let me ask you, is this lady, the Sue Thayer, former clinic director, what made her have a change of heart? What made her wanted to switch and go back after her employer?
You know, Sue is one of these people who says that, you know, for most of her life, she actually thought of herself as pro-life and thought of Planned Parenthood as committed to women's health. She thought that they were committed to birth control and women's health, and her facility was not actually doing abortions. And then she saw abortion up close and realized what Planned Parenthood was really about. And that's when she had a change of heart and left Planned Parenthood rather than be involved in abortion itself. And when she did, she realized just all of the things that had been going on and the potential Medicaid fraud that she had been exposed to.
You know, Casey, now, maybe I shouldn't stretch this out into other areas or other cities, but could this be kind of opening the Pandora's box against Planned Parenthood? Could this case kind of be a catalyst to make inquiries in other areas?
You know, we always say that when you're in the killing business, lying is easy. And Planned Parenthood commits, roughly a third of 1 million abortions every year. So it should not surprise anyone that an organization that's getting the amount of money that they are from taxpayers would be involved in Medicaid fraud. We have a report that we've put together every year for the last several years that shows that in the states that have actually audited Planned Parenthood, and there are about 12 or 13 states, every one of those states has found some sort of mismanagement of funds by Planned Parenthood, either direct fraud or other kinds of waste and abuse of taxpayer dollars. So, no, it should not surprise anyone that Planned Parenthood is engaged in this kind of misuse of our taxpayer dollars, and they should be held accountable for it.
You know, Casey, when you look at the overall picture of Planned Parenthood and the Obama administration demanding, of course, that there is more refunding for the Planned Parenthoods, why? I'm really getting concerned that there are other alternatives. And how much do we, the public, really, really know about the basics of what they do? I mean, are we being told everything?
You know, up until last summer, around the time that the video started breaking last summer, there was actually a poll that showed that about half of America did not realize that Planned Parenthood did abortion at all. So it just goes to show you what people actually know and what they think they know about Planned Parenthood. I would encourage people to speak out, speak the truth, because you will be surprised what your friends, your relatives know and don't know about Planned Parenthood. This is an organization that over the last decade has brought in over $750 million in excess income, what they call excess income, what anyone else would call a profit. And they're making about $550 million a year off of taxpayers. They are awash with cash. And they're using that not only to subsidize their abortion business, they're also using it to influence elections. Planned Parenthood has committed $20 million this election cycle to influencing elections.
So basically, they're getting tax-funded dollars, and then they, in turn, use those tax-funded dollars to go in accordance with the political candidate or party of their choice. So basically, they've got a really good round-robin theory on how to spend your and my money.
They have really worked this thing out pretty brilliantly, honestly. They have figured out how to keep customers coming in, how to turn those customers into abortion customers, and then how to make sure that that they elect the right people to keep all that money coming. And so they spend the money to bring the money in. It's a brilliant business strategy that Planned Parenthood has developed. It's just not worth our taxpayer funds. Every one of us every day is working to send a little bit of money to Planned Parenthood, and it's time we bring that to an end and stop this taxpayer funding of Planned Parenthood.
But is it basically more than just Planned Parenthood? Is it also like, I was reading a story that just came out this morning, Casey, and it said that the Democratic platform calls for taxpayer-funded abortions. Is that the mantra of the Democratic left, that they want to create a circumstance to where all taxpayers have to pay for abortions, a killing society? Is that what they're pushing for?
Well, I've seen that as well, and unfortunately, that's yet more evidence of this. Right, the biggest benefit, or the biggest organization benefiting from making abortions taxpayer funded would be Planned Parenthood. If you had Planned Parenthood able to tap into taxpayer funds for every abortion they're committing, that $550 million would pale in comparison. It would be substantially more than that. What we already know is that they are, according to Sue Thayer in her case, they have been billing taxpayers for abortions illegally. What they're asking for now in the Democratic platform is to be able to make that illegality legal and to actually pay for abortions directly up front with your taxpayer dollars.
Since you've been involved with the Alliance Defending Freedom and fighting against Planned Parenthood, have you seen a change, a transition, a perception change against them that hopefully someday we can stop this idiocy of killing babies?
We do see some of that. We see people starting to realize what Planned Parenthood really is, and the fact that there are alternatives. That Planned Parenthood is not the only option. It's not even the best option for women and families. We have created a website, this getyourcare.org, where we are encouraging people to look at, because people seem to have this idea that even if Planned Parenthood is evil, and they may agree with us that it is, they think it's a necessary evil. There are thousands of other places that people can go for health care that are much better than Planned Parenthood's abortion-centric business. So we would encourage people to do that, and we're seeing that message resonate, both among lawmakers and also among the general population, as people realize that they don't have to have Planned Parenthood. We can send our taxpayer dollars to a better place.
Absolutely. Casey Maddox, I really appreciate you being on the program this morning, and keep us informed as to what's going on with this subject. On behalf of the Alliance Defending Freedom, very, very high on you folks and what you're doing. Thank you for your time here this morning.
Thank you, Zeb.
You bet. Take care. You know, I just really appreciate the attorneys and the way they stand up and they're defending, in this case, the unborn child, and going after Planned Parenthood and other things that they do for the right of our society. There is so much going on the filthy left in our society to transform and remake into a very sinister model. And I'm very thankful of the Alliance Defending Freedom and all their attorneys across this United States. Thank you very, very much. Calls are welcome and appreciated. I'm going to turn over the next 20 minutes or so to you. Any subject matter, whether it's the case in Twin Falls or whether it's what happened over in England with the Brexit, leaving the European Union, or any other story, give me a call. I'd like to hear what your thoughts are. We're going to make it your forum. You pick a topic and you call me and let me know what you want to talk about. Come on, hurry. I don't have a lot of times that we can do this, and I'm glad this morning we had this little lull, because now you can pick the topic and the subject matter, and we'll talk about it, okay? 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. We will talk about anything you want to talk about, whether it's 4th of July, or whether it is gun control, or whatever you want to talk about. Give me a jingle at 436-2244. Good morning. You are on the air. Go ahead.
Yes. Is this the complaint department?
I guess it could be. Go ahead. Complaints 101. You're on the air.
Okay. I have a dislike to the way things are being handled on the senior discount. At any place that offers a senior discount should just give it to you if you're a senior.
Yeah.
Instead of making you say you have an AARP card. This really torques me off, because I think this is discrimination, and I literally despise the AARP.
So what are you saying that restaurants and others should do? I mean, how should they handle it without asking you for your AARP card or whatever?
Well, if you tell them you're a senior, if they ask for your identification, you should show it to them.
Okay.
That you are of that age. You see, people that carry an AARP card, you can get that at 50 years old.
Yeah.
Because they're so desperate for membership.
Yeah.
So they're not really a senior citizen.
So
I despise this AARP because it's a sham on the American face.
Okay, now when you say you despise AARP, I'm not trying to pin you down on this, Keith, but there's a lot of reasons I don't like the AARP, is because of the very liberal stance they've taken on many, many issues. What's your main bent against them? What don't you like?
The main thing I don't like is the way they handle this Obamacare. they went along with Obamacare, not even thinking of the senior citizens.
Right.
And that's who they're supposed to represent.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that real quick, about the senior citizens. You know, I don't think that seniors in our country are getting a fair shake at all. And you know what? I'm prejudiced because I am one myself. But, you know, it seems like we're almost looking at a hemlock society to where a lot of the other organizations and everything in other age brackets are saying, oh, just die and get out of the way. We don't need you anymore. Is that kind of the feeling you're getting also?
Absolutely, and we don't really have any further use for you. You don't contribute to society because you don't have a job.
Yeah, but that's not true.
You're living off of what you earned from Social Security.
Yeah, but you know what? That's not really true. I know so many people that are in their 60s, 70s, and 80s that are still being very productive, still being very helpful to their community, still being very amenable to helping the economy of the local area. I honestly don't understand why people all of a sudden try to sweep them under the rug.
Well, they just do, because they're not out and about like the younger people are, you know, and they're not so loud about their position.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your call as always, and we'll see if others want to chime in on that. But I've always had a respect for the seniors in our country, and I wish that we could take a little bit more of a lesson from some of the Asian countries and how they treat their seniors and make it applicable here in this country. But I do thank you for your call and comment. Thank you.
Another comment, Zeb, if I may.
Yes.
Yeah. What if the ACLU got a hold of this and made a case of it? It wouldn't be well for businesses who are practicing this. Yeah, I'd just as soon they not give anybody a discount as to offer a senior discount and not give it to the seniors.
Yeah, I agree.
I know what other people think about this.
All right, sir. Well, very good point. Thank you. I appreciate it, Keith. Got to get the weather in. Thank you much. Your thoughts about senior citizens, your thoughts about programs like AARP, etc., your thoughts about any other subject right after we do the weather. And that's good. Keith chimed right in. He jumped right in. He brought a subject up. Now I'm still going to keep the remaining part of this half hour for any topic that you want to talk about. Anything. 4th of July, like I said, whatever. Give me a jingle, 436-2244. Caller, I appreciate it. I'm going to do the weather real quick, and I'm going to come right back to you. Stand by. Here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather as we get ready to kick off another work week and Independence Weekend. Looks like mostly sunny skies for today. Looking at slightly breezy conditions, winds out of the southeast, right around 11 miles an hour, but a high of 95 tonight, low of 60 tomorrow. Pretty much the same as today. Mostly sunny skies, high of 94 with an overnight low of 59. Pretty much the same for Wednesday as well. Mostly sunny, high of 94, overnight low of 61. Dropping down to mostly sunny and 90 for Thursday, and looks like mid-80s for Friday. Yesterday's high was 85. The overnight low was 45. That is your weather for Zeb at the Range.
Very well done, Gina. Thank you very much. Sounds good going into the 4th of July weekend. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Good morning, Zeb. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you.
Good. Hey, I read a short story, and it was about senior citizens, and it said it was based in China. And the emperor wanted to get rid of all of the elderly. And so basically you had to turn in your elderly, and they just mass executed them. Well, this one old boy, he hit his mom out and up on the side of this ridge, and pretty quick the Huns come up, and they was going to do battle with the Chinese government or the empire or whatever, and they says they tried to work it out diplomatically, and he says, let's see, if you can string a string through this big knotted up pine, thread this all the way through there, we'll think about not attacking you. So they tried, and they couldn't figure out how to thread this string through this big knotted up pine wood. So the one old boy goes up and asks his mother, well, what do you think? She says, well, here. And she tied the thread to this ant, and put sugar in the hole, and put sugar on the other end of the hole. And this ant threaded that line right through there. Takes it to the emperor, and the emperor shows the Huns, and they said, well, now you gotta make this drum beat without anybody beating on it. No sticks, nothing. Couldn't figure it out. This old boy takes it up to his mother again. She catches a bumblebee and puts inside of this drum. That bumblebee just goes to banging on that drum. And basically the moral of the story was, before you get rid of everybody who's been there and done that, you better step back and think about that.
Amen. I really enjoyed those two analogies. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it.
You betcha.
Thank you. I don't consider myself old. I still, with my my thinking and my activities and everything, of course, I got slowed down a little bit last Thursday night. I had a little problem with my hip again. But I don't consider myself being old or elderly or any of the words you want to use in connotation with when you reach a certain age. Oh, well, you're an antique. You're old. Why, you're a senior. Why is that? I'm still working. I'm still paying taxes. I'm still paying the government. I'm still trying to be productive. And I know many just like me and that are still working and still trying to maintain. Why is it that there's got to be, you're old, you're worthless? You know what? I'd take a whole string of old-timers over what's coming up in the millennial generation right now. Not all of them. Not all of them, but many of them. First of all, the millennials, I don't think they've ever had any responsibility to work. They've never had any responsibility to raise a family, try to figure out where the paycheck's going to go, how to extend that paycheck, how they're going to buy the groceries, the shoes, and everything else. They don't have any of that knowledge, and it's a gimme society. Whereas the seniors in our country, a wealth of information. And when I see that Social Security is a fund that is being tapped into by refugees coming into this country that have never contributed one damn dime into our system, and it's making it increasingly hard for our seniors to try to make ends meet, and it will down the road also. Let's start taking care of our people, us, first. You can keep extending the milk of human kindness, and you can keep passing out all the little Dixie cups and pouring it full to all the people that come in here. And pretty soon there's no more Dixie cups. Pretty soon there's no more milk of human kindness. Pretty soon we're all in the same boat. And that boat's got a hole in it, and we're sinking. And that's exactly what's happening with the absolutely pathetic thoughts of the Democrats and the Obama administration. Your thoughts, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. By the way, don't forget, July 7, 8, and 9, the great big Silver State Stampede in Elko, Nevada, at the Elko County Fairgrounds. Oh, my goodness sakes, are they going to have a wild, good time, because the legend lives on. Oh, my. On Thursday night, the 7th, I'll be right there, caller. Stand by. They're going to have that big tri-tip dinner. And then, of course, the World Championship Old West bronc riding. And then on Friday and Saturday night, the PRCA Rodeo. Oh, you don't want to miss it. It's going to be outstanding. Always is. One of the best rodeos anywhere in the Northwest. The Silver State Stampede in Elko, Nevada, July 7, 8, and 9 in Elko, Nevada. The legend lives on. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
They had twice in the same day, but what I was going to mention is the Barnett ain't dry on the pine box yet. But there was a grocery store that I went in Burley there one day, and it was on a certain day, and the lady at the counter, I had my groceries, the lady at the counter says, you get a 10% discount today. And I says, what for? And she said, that's a senior's discount. And she didn't ask for an ID or nothing.
Uh-huh.
And I had to appreciate that.
Well, I don't think that it's anything but obvious. You can kind of perchance tell how old somebody is, but I think that's nice. That I know stores that offer senior citizens discount days, and they offer this and that. There's nothing wrong with it, but I just think that we need to respect seniors more for what they've done, what they are doing, and what they can do in our society and our economy.
Well, and they're steering away from it.
Yeah.
There's a percentage of it that steers away from it. It just boils my boil.
Okay. Well, God bless you, my dear friend. Thank you. I always appreciate your remarks. Have a good day, sir. Thank you.
I don't have much to say, but when I do, I try to put it in some silly terminology.
Well, I appreciate that, and you're always welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Appreciate
Bye-bye.
it.
Bye.
Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead. Hello, caller.
Good morning.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay. I wasn't sure whether that was still a call ahead of me or what.
No.
I do have something to say. Some years ago, I had to retire on disability because I ended up with a hearing loss that messed me up as far as I couldn't work anymore in my chosen profession because that was the chief way I worked. And with my vision impairment, I just could not go on. So I joined some groups in the community to work together with them to do what community service I could do. And unfortunately, almost all of those groups have closed down.
Oh, my.
They were mostly seniors. Unfortunately, none of the younger people would join a group. They don't want to commit. They're too busy. And so our community service groups have closed. We are not seeing the work being done in the community that was done by some of those groups.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that we are able to reach out to some of the younger folks, and I mean way younger, and get them to still work as a group to do things. But, there were good things that we did.
Yep.
And they're not being done because the younger people are too busy.
Well, it's not so much...
People that are retiring at this point are too busy.
Yeah. I don't know. Linda, I am very, very busy every day. Every day we've got something to do or an additional something to do. But I have made a promise for as long as I have this program that I'm going to do as much as I can to help serve other groups and other people, because that's what it's all about. In the long scheme of things, it's how we treat people and how we help other people. That's really what's going to be remembered.
You've got it.
Linda, God bless you.
I can. I'm still doing what I can to help. I still have a few things going.
I know that.
But I really hate to see this. We've lost a lot of people. We've lost retired teachers. We've lost women's church groups. It's just, we've lost our local teacher sorority chapter. It's sad.
It is. And Linda, God bless you. I've got one other caller squeeze in quick, and I will put them on. Thank you. God bless you so much. Thank you. Great lady right there. Caller, I've got 30 seconds real fast. Go ahead.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. But
yes, sir.
For people like you and I, there are no free rides in this country.
That's right.
So these people that are coming into this country should be out there cleaning up the highways, cleaning up the slum neighborhoods, where they have to get out in the morning and earn their keep.
Amen.
Like you and I did for many years.
Amen. Amen. That's all I have to say. I agree with you entirely. Thank you, Tony. I got to run to the news. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Let's go to the news from CBS. I'll be back in 6. Don't go away. Well, here we go. Hour number 3 on a Monday. My goodness, the last Monday of June 2016. June 27 already. My goodness sakes. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, and along with some of our great advertisers, including Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Get on the route service, 734-6969. You know, I want to remind you again, the Rupert 4th of July celebration is going to start this week, June 30th, all the way through the 4th of July in Rupert, with the theme, The Land That I Love. And the Grand Marshals, Bert and Elaine Stevenson, and the Wild West Shootout honorary sheriff is Chuck Dahlry, and it's going to start on Thursday, June 30th, this week, Thursday, with a great big Christmas in July breakfast right there on the square at 6 a.m. And then music and fireworks and, oh my goodness, all kinds of fun things, lawnmower races, and of course on the 4th of July, great big huge parade starting at 11 a.m. All of this and so much more at the Rupert 4th of July celebration for this year. Don't you miss it. Right now, we're going to go to the phone line, and I am very, very honored to have this man come back on our program again. He's got a brand new book, of which he sent me a copy, Great News for America. Dr. Gerard Lamero, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good to be with you again. I love being on your show. I love talking to you, and I think you're a great American.
Well, I appreciate that, and I really appreciated your book. But now I want to get right into the subject matter. I love this country, Doctor. I'm very fortunate to have been born and raised in this country, and all the different things that have been afforded me to go out and get a great education and perceive what I wanted to do, and then try to attain my goals of success. But right now, I'm a little bit cautious about this country and its government when they think about censoring information that I, as an American, should be told. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think there are quite a few people on the other side, the left, that don't believe in freedom of speech like most of us do. That we've grown up on freedom of speech. We think everybody should speak their minds. You don't want to yell fire in a crowded theater, as they say. But, you know, beyond a few little things like that, we should be free to give our opinions, give our thoughts. We should be able to speak about religious matters, political matters, economic matters, totally freely. And that's, of course, what I support and what the Constitution supports.
You know, Doctor, when you heard that Attorney General was going to possibly censor what the Orlando massacre Muslim killer said via the cell phone, etc., what were your thoughts when you heard that they were going to basically take a big eraser and take out very important items of information?
I think the word I used on another radio show was absurd. Just utterly absurd that the American people should have the news censored before it's given to them. Why shouldn't we know who shot 49 people in Orlando? Orlando's a beautiful city. I gave a speech down there. It's a beautiful place. And Disney World, things like that. Why shouldn't the Americans in Orlando, why shouldn't all Americans across the country know who it is that attacked those innocent people in Orlando? And I don't care, you know, their sexual orientation. I don't care if they're black, white, green, Martian. I don't care where they're from. Nobody should go to a place, especially a public place, well, any place, and get shot. 53 people shot, 49 people killed. That's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
Why? Because I think it's a form of lying when you don't, you know, when you don't tell the truth completely. That's sort of, in a sense, a lie. I mean, they basically redacted the transcripts, and then only after tremendous amount of public outrage did they decide to go ahead and put in the rest of the facts.
Absolutely.
And they said they weren't exactly sure when they would release the rest of those facts.
We have a caller with a question, and then I want to come back into this topic of information. Caller, quickly go ahead with your question for Dr. Lamero. Thank you.
Yes, Dr. Lamero, we live here next to Twin Falls, Idaho, where 3 Muslim youths sexually assaulted a 5-year-old white girl. And now the judge in this case, apparently some district court judge, not a local judge, has said that if anybody says anything about this case that she doesn't agree with, there will be consequences. And I say to myself, how in the hell can anybody do that or say anything like that in America? I'll hang up.
You know, he brings up a really good point. Dr. Lamero, would you please respond to what his statement was?
Yeah, and by the way, the Twin Falls thing is not just local to Idaho or anything, or to Twin Falls or to your area. It is national. I mean, I am aware of it. I know the facts, as at least as presented in the media, some of which are conservative, some of which are liberal media. So I know both sides of the story, and I can tell you this, freedom of speech should not be curtailed unless there's an incredible public need to do that. And I think it's very controversial what's happened in Twin Falls, and people are worried about their freedom of speech. And the prosecutor, or some of those folks who are working on the other side. What do I mean by that? I mean the people on the left support the administration or appointed by the administration, that sort of thing. Some of those people seem to think you can't criticize people on the, people of the Muslim faith or something. I mean, I don't know. I hear Christians being criticized all the time.
You know, I'm so glad that this was brought up by the caller, because I have absolutely been livid over the last couple of weeks regarding this case and how the liberal left side wants to take a slant against those of us on the right that are conservatives and very worried about our culture, very worried about our families, very worried about what the future status is going to be in a relatively small community. And to have some judge say that they're going to curtail freedom of speech and maybe make it illegal for us to voice our opinions, that's not the America that I grew up in, Dr. Lamero.
Well, I understand. It's not the America I grew up in either. But there seems to be, this gets more complicated than maybe you want to go into. But there are deep things going on here. There has been a long-standing push against Christianity. And people think, well, they're against Christians because they like some other religion. But no, I think they're against Christians because of the inherent human dignity that the Christian religion gave to our founders. They took the principle back at the time of the Constitution writing and the Declaration of Independence that we were endowed by our Creator. It was Judeo-Christian heritage that's built into our Constitution, that every man, every woman in America has a certain human dignity, and that's supported by the Christian faith, that every person is valued. That's why we value life in the womb, and we're against abortion and that, because we basically believe in the dignity of the human being, and that includes freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom to vote for who we want, freedom to speak out if we see an injustice. And there are times when courts have to, have a kind of a silence order, gag order for certain things to protect people's rights. But this particular issue has generated tremendous controversy because they think it steps past our freedom of speech. And this is going to be an issue until it's finally resolved, and I don't know when that will be.
I don't think any of us do out here, but our local Times News newspaper and the editor and, of course, the city council, etc., they have been very, let's say not eloquent, but they have used any and all verbiage to try to downplay the people that are concerned about refugees coming into this area, try to downplay and diminish the value of people's statements when they are very concerned concerned about a change of our culture. And, any time in our society when you have change or forced changes, people absolutely have a right to voice their opinions and not be squashed by the local media and or local politicians.
By the way, Zeb, I'll be real honest with you. This is one of the reasons why there's going to be a landslide election in November. And I'll predict right now Trump's going to win in a landslide unless he decides to step aside before the convention and allow Ted Cruz to run. Because whoever's going to run, I think it's going to be a landslide. People are fed up with losing their rights. They're worried about their gun rights. They're worried about their freedom of speech. It's just on and on. They're also worried about losing the country we've had for 240 years, a wonderful country that has produced the greatest nation in the history of civilization. And they're worried about this. And unfortunately, many, immigrants are coming to the U.S. from what we can tell, and they don't really want to assimilate into our culture. In the olden days, people came to the U.S. because they thought America was a great place and they wanted to become Americans.
Right.
Now we hear people saying, well, we want Sharia law. Well, what about the people here? Do we want it? Who gets the vote on that?
Doc,
I think that's where a lot of this comes from. But I do think the American people are going to answer. This is a political matter, and it's going to be answered in the election. There's going to be a landslide.
Absolutely.
People are coming out to vote, and my book, Great News for America, is all about the fact that this is a historic election. Historic election means a record voter turnout, or near record. This one's probably going to be a record turnout, and that's what we've seen in all the primaries, in the caucuses. We've seen millions of new people voting. And I think that's going to happen more so in November. It's going to continue because people are fed up with losing our country.
Wouldn't you say, Doctor, with your expertise, that what happened over in England in the last couple of days with the Brexit, leaving the European Union, absolutely is a big foreboding of what's going to happen here in November, because people are fed up with government telling them what to do 24/7. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, it's a reaction to socialism. What we've had is creeping socialism in this country, which means your rights go away, and when you lose them, the government takes them. Basically, the government's getting more and more powerful at the expense of individuals like you and me, who work every day and pay the taxes. And it's that simple, and the people in these elite power centers like London, Washington, D.C., those kind of places, they don't get it. They don't understand what we're upset about. They think we're off the ranch, so to speak. But in fact, they're the ones that don't get it, because they're the 1%ers, the true 1%ers, the ones with the power. And they also have the financial power, typically. You look at some of these billionaires who are trying to influence things. So, yeah, I'm with you. Brexit is, on a small scale, what's going to happen in November. America's larger than Britain. The vote's going to be bigger, but it's going to be the same thing. That Brexit vote was a vote for freedom. They're sick of the elites. They're sick of the establishment. They're sick of socialism. And you have to wait 6 months for a heart surgery. Some of those horror stories I've heard, I've written about in the past. People are fed up with socialism there in terms of what it's doing to their lives. And it's also true here.
Let me ask you this question in regards to what's happening with the refugees coming into this country. I've said this before, and I will be criticized by those that want to criticize, but this is the way I feel. We have always offered the gallon of the milk of human kindness to anybody and everybody wanting to come to America. But right now, they don't want to assimilate. They don't want to do anything to help enhance our culture. They want to bring their own culture. They want to change everything to the country that they have left. And we really don't know who these people are. I have come out against the refugee status. Obama's going to increase it by thousands, going to various other areas of the United States. I think it could be the last call for our culture in this nation if we don't say no and stop this.
Well, you know what? As bad as it is, I am still optimistic. I saw this coming last year. That's why I wrote the book. Great News for America, I wrote in 2015 in anticipation. It came out in January of this election. And I truly believe, Zeb, that the American people are smart. They have tremendous common sense. And they are going to elect a conservative. And I think Donald Trump has said enough conservative things like building a wall and cutting the flow of immigrants and rebuilding the military. He said enough things where even though he may not be a formal conservative, got his degree in conservatism, so to speak, he is still conservative and loves America. And because of that, I think he's going to win in a landslide. Unless, as I said, for some reason he doesn't get the nomination. He's still a month away from that, but presumably he will. And then he will win in a landslide. And it's going to be these very factors that are going to bring out the people in millions that have not voted. By the way, the day before Brexit, I checked the polls, and they said Brexit was going to fail. The people who wanted to stay in the European Union would win and prevail. And guess what? Those polls are wrong. The polls that are saying Hillary's going to win, give me a break.
Yeah.
They're using the wrong models, the 2012 models, or the old principles. There is a fundamental realignment going on. It has to do with the American people. They are upset. They're going to vote in ways that the pollsters are going to get fooled again.
Let me ask you about one other problem in our society, and I want to hear your response on this. I am livid against the liberal media, the biased media that we have in this country. How is Trump or anybody going to overcome that media that is so bent on liberalism?
Well, Zeb, you may think that they've got a lot of power, but it's diminishing. If you look at their business models, they have to lay off people. If you look at the viewership, a lot of the viewership has dropped. A lot of people no longer believe it's credible. They read it because they're subscribed to the New York Times or whatever, but they don't necessarily believe it's true anymore. They're looking more and more to two sources. They're looking more and more to talk radio because they think it's more honest, it's more grassroots, it's the real people talking to the people, and they listen to some of the social media. And the social media has everything. I mean, they got left wing, right wing, middle, you name it. It's in the internet is democracy because everybody gets to speak. I do my blog every week, and I'm not rich and famous like some people, but I do it every week. I do my homework, and I write and things like that, and there are a lot of other good people writing, and that's where Americans are going.
Okay, now your book. Let's talk a little bit about Great News for America. If you folks in the audience haven't read this book, I urge you to. Dr. Lamero sent me a copy way back months ago. It's an outstanding book. And, Doctor, tell everybody how they can obtain a copy of your book.
Well, the easiest way, I suppose, is Great News for America. That's the name of the book. They can go to Amazon. They can go to Barnes & Noble's online. Any of the various places that usually sells books, you can buy it through. If your bookstore doesn't have a copy in stock, you can ask them to order it. Great News for America. They can also go to my website, greatnewsforamerica.com. And it's got all my blogs about the presidential election, and it's got my other books, and it's got lots of articles and free information. There's a lot of pages on the website. I don't know how many, maybe 70 pages of information on the website. So there's a lot of resources there.
When you heard the news, as I did over the weekend, that on the short list, Elizabeth Warren might be the vice presidential candidate for Hillary Clinton, I've got to ask you, I've been waiting about 20 minutes to ask you this. What are your thoughts about dingy Elizabeth Warren?
Well, my thought is she's an outright socialist. She doesn't know what she's talking about when it comes to economics, that's for sure. That's sort of my baseline. I spend most of my time on the presidency and on economics. I think she would be along the lines of Bernie. Bernie Sanders was the Santa Claus candidate, give out free college education, free loans, free this, free that, free everything. And, of course, he doesn't know how he's going to pay the bill, but that's another issue with socialists. They're great at spending other people's money, and, of course, the problem is when you run out of other people's money. So I think, I think she's likely to be the nominee if Hillary gets the nomination herself for president. I think Warren will get it for vice president. I'm still waiting for the FBI primary to see what happens, because we're still waiting to see, is there going to be a criminal referral? Is there going to be an indictment? What about all those thousands of emails and all that secret information? What's going to happen with all that?
Absolutely. I wished I had more time. I absolutely love having this gentleman on my program, Dr. Gerard Lamero, and his book, Great News for America. God's blessings to you, and please come back soon.
God bless you and everybody in that wonderful state of Idaho.
All right, sir. Thank you very, very much. Dr. Gerard Lamero, and a real straight shooter and a real positive man. You feel better every time you get a chance to talk to him. He's got a real outlook of positiveness for America. Thank you very much. Oh, my. Let's see. What else have we got here? Oh, we've got on Thursdays a segment called Cassia County School Days. And we want to say thanks to A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. And, of course, they're having their everything for babies and toddlers, all the way through this month of June. Don't forget they've got everything for the family right there at 1308 Overland in Burley. And that's, of course, The Child's World. And then don't forget to the Burley Ambulatory Center, 1344 Highland in Burley. All your outpatient surgeries, and don't forget they've got the only glaucoma surgery machine in all of southern Idaho. Number to call and find out how they can save you money, 677-8888. 677-8888. Ambulatory Surgery Center and A Child's World, bringing you school days in Cassia County. One other note before we send it back over to Wheels at our main studio is I want to remind you that the savings are continuing at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Man, they had outstanding savings and bargains for you during the Father's Day. Oh, my goodness sakes, but listen to this. All the recliners are still on sale. You've got to get in and try a recliner on. Whether you're tall, whether you're short, whether you're skinny, or whatever you are, you'll find exactly one that fits you at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. And check out, of course, all the living room sets and the bedroom sets. They've got it all for you. 0% interest for 12 months on approved credit. Everything on sale at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. Stop in. The savings continue at Lee's Furniture. We're going to take a little break, and then coming back next half hour, we've got a young lady, excuse me, by the name of Katie Brown on the air, and she is with a organization called Energy in Depth. And she's going to be talking about how the attorney generals in some states are trying to make it illegal for people to speak out as far as being climate change deniers, kind of what Dr. Lamero said a few moments ago. So don't miss. This is going to be really a good interview coming up in about 5 minutes. Don't you miss it. We'll send it back over to Wheels at our main station.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb.
Okie dokie. Thank you and very much for getting it back over to our side of the river. Good morning, everybody. Zeb at the Ranch. And don't forget, it's the Rupert 4th of July celebration. And I know some businesses over there that are really happy to invite you over to Rupert, like Mad River Laser at 502 East Street in Rupert, right next door to the Youth Ranch. And they're having their entire Christmas line out at the end of this month into July. So they're saying Christmas in Junely. By by golly, don't miss it. It's going to be a lot of fun. They're going to have all kinds of sales and sale prices and everything. Don't wait. Stop into Mad River Laser at 502 East Street in Rupert. And Snyder's Surplus. Hello, these are wonderful people. They've got literally everything for everybody in every need. I mean, whether it's light fixtures, dining table sets, backpacks, waterproof bags, knives, machetes, you name it, toolboxes, it's all there. Everything there at Snyder's Surplus, 116 South, 200 west of Rupert. And they say, come on over and enjoy the Rupert 4th of July festivities. Right now, let's go to the phone line, and we have with us a young lady that is with Energy in Depth, and her name is Katie Brown. Good morning, Katie. How are you?
Good morning. It's good to be with you.
Well, it is my pleasure. Katie, I'm very simple and very succinct about what I say and do on this program. I am sick and tired of liberals and Democrats in this country threatening me and my free speech because I do not believe in global warming and climate change. What's going on with this story?
Well, it all started late last year. There were some articles that came out by Inside Climate News and by graduate students at the Columbia School of Journalism. Both of these are funded by the Rockefeller Foundations. And the Rockefeller Foundation is an anti-fossil fuel organization that funds a lot of causes. So they put out these articles that said that Exxon knew about climate change way back in the 1970s and 80s and then refused to tell the public about climate change. So then in November of last year, New York Attorney General Eric Schneiderman said that he was going to investigate ExxonMobil on the basis of these articles. Well, first of all, the articles cherry-picked the documents that they were looking at. They were looking at scientific documents from ExxonMobil, and they just left out the parts that didn't fit into their narrative and tried to produce this narrative that Exxon knew about climate change and wasn't being forthcoming about it, which just simply isn't true.
You know...
But what's interesting about this whole thing is that the activists behind this movement, groups like Union of Concerned Scientists and Greenpeace and 350.org, all of these groups that are funded by the Rockefellers have been trying to get state AGs invested in this and prosecuting energy companies under racketeering laws like RICO. Mm-hmm. And so that's what's been going on this whole time. It's been over a year of collusion between anti-fossil fuel activists and the state AGs that are launching investigations. So it's very interesting.
Why doesn't somebody, Katie, launch a reverse attack on these imbeciles like Al Gore and others that are trying to perpetrate human beings as the main culprit for what they say is climate change? Now, here's my stance. I believe that there has always been systematic and climate changes through history. We have seen ever since the Ice Age and since prehistoric times, climate changes. We're involved in a climate change now. Most of the scientists I've had on this program have said, yes, we're going into a cooling trend. And then we have people like Al Gore and these attorney generals and others that are trying to make it illegal even to question the integrity of climate change. This is ridiculous. How far can they take this?
Well, what you said was interesting from a free speech point of view because a lot of legal experts, like numerous legal experts, have come out and said that, trying to investigate energy companies under racketeering laws just does not work, that they don't have a case. One recent one was a lawyer called Tristan Brown. He is a professor at State University of New York, and he even said in his column, he said, I am a believer in climate change. I completely empathize with what the AGs are trying to do, But what they're doing is setting a very dangerous precedent, because he said, now anyone, if you use this definition for fraud, now just about anyone could be investigated for fraud, including clean energy companies, is what he said. And then numerous other legal experts. There was a lawyer called Harvey Silvergate from the ACLU who said this is just pure harassment. Merritt Fox from Columbia Law School said that the AGs are unlikely to be successful in this.
What do they want, Katie? I mean, what do these people really want? Whether it's the Massachusetts Attorney General or whether it's Al Gore, what do they want? Do they want us all, like I've said many times, to live in a cave and burn buffalo dung? What do they really want?
Well, it's a good question, but what we've seen is that these new emails have been revealed through Freedom of Information requests, and what they have revealed is that activists, environmental activists, have been working very, very closely with especially New York Attorney General Eric Schneiderman's office. And not only have they been working very closely with these state AGs, they've also been trying to hide it. So some of these emails show that they were putting together a common interest agreement, and a common interest agreement would allow them to keep their emails private so that they wouldn't have to reveal to the public what's going on.
Right.
They also show that at one stage, a Wall Street Journal reporter asked one of the activists if he had attended a briefing, which occurred before the Attorney Generals did their press conference with Al Gore. I think you remembered that. You mentioned that Al Gore was involved.
Yes.
So a lot of activists came to brief all those AGs that went on stage with Al Gore. And when a reporter asked that activist about it, he asked the AG's office, what should I say? I don't know. And the AGs were like, whatever you do, do not tell the reporter that you were at this meeting.
Really?
They're definitely trying to hide that collusion. That's very telling.
You know, Katie, in your studies on this story of energy, and maybe I'm getting out of the parameters of what we want to talk about this morning, but in the colleges, in universities, and in the high schools, the kids are being taught that energy is bad. Oh, no, leave it in the ground. Don't touch it. You know, we are the strongest country in the world, but we're becoming weaker every day because of a non-use of the assets that God has given us. And that's why I'm so afraid that the millennial generation coming up, they're siding with the Al Gores and they're siding with these attorney generals. How in the world can we get common sense back into this country?
Well, this brings up the point of the great irony of all of this, actually, because it's these very companies, these oil and gas companies, that are actually responsible for reducing greenhouse gas emissions in the United States. So ExxonMobil is one of the largest natural gas companies in the country. And even the IPCC has said that it is because of our increased use of natural gas that greenhouse gas emissions have plummeted in the United States, and we're the only country in the world that has achieved dramatic reductions in greenhouse gases where everyone else's has gone up. And we did it because of natural gas and because these companies have produced natural gas, and that's who these activists are going after, which is the huge irony of the whole thing.
But what about the law? And what about the Al Gores? And what about the AGs? I mean, honestly, Katie, do you think that in the next not very long time in the future, I might be on this radio program and I might speak out about the absolutely ridiculous concepts of man-made global warming, and they'll kick me off the air or they'll fine me? Do you honestly think that it'll get that far?
Well, according to legal experts, they're saying that they don't have a case. So it seems like the only people that are coming out and saying, oh yeah, this is going to work, are the activists themselves. When you look if you look at columns and editorial boards that are coming out across the country, I mean, Washington Post, Bloomberg, USA Today, Wall Street Journal, all of these editorial boards have looked at this situation and said, this is ridiculous. This is, it's trampling on free speech. It doesn't work for racketeering laws. And it's legal experts. It's, the mainstream media outlets are not exactly, they don't have a penchant for, siding with oil and gas companies, but even they are saying that, this is a step too far.
All right. So, now tell me a little bit about
any indication.
Tell me a little bit about you, and tell me a little bit about the group called Energy in Depth. Now, basically, what do you and what do they do?
Sure. Energy in Depth is a research and education program of the Independent Petroleum Association of America, and our job is to make sure that people have the facts about oil and gas development, particularly fracking, and this entire effort is built into that because they're not just attacking ExxonMobil. I mean, they're attacking all oil and gas companies.
Right.
In this fight. So we're there to make sure that people have the facts and just to get that out there for the public.
What about this next election? I don't want to paint you into a corner, Katie, but I am so scared of Hillary Clinton and the continuance of Barack Obama's policies. I am so frightened that we're going to be more of a regressive nation and we're going to lose the use of something that's going to help keep us top of the world stature. What are your thoughts about this next election?
Well, Energy in Depth doesn't actually get involved in the politics of it, but we can say that if you look across the country, I mean, even top Democrats, I mean, even Hillary Clinton to a certain extent have said that hydraulic fracturing and oil and gas development is important and it's enhancing our energy security. It's actually bringing down greenhouse gases. I mean, folks like Governor Hickenlooper in Colorado is a strong supporter of natural gas. Jerry Brown in California has said that anti-fracking activists don't know what they're talking about. He's been a very strong supporter. Democrats across the country realize how important this is, and I think that's an encouraging thing.
All right. Well, Katie, I really appreciate your coming on the program, and I'm going to keep your name and number and have you back in the future. But thank you very, very much for coming on the show. God's blessings to you.
Thank you.
All right. We'll have you back in the future. Thank you very, very much.
Great.
Young lady by the name of Katie Brown with the Energy in Depth talking about this is... I got to tell you that this is so frustrating that we're looking at a world, whether it's the case in Twin Falls with the juveniles and a judge saying, no, don't say anything, there may be laws against you using free speech, or the case here with attorney generals over energy saying, if somebody speaks out, you might be sued and have to go to court. What happened to free speech in this country? And how dare these so-called judges wag their finger at us and say you can't speak your mind? Well, I'm wagging my finger right back at them and saying, oh, yes, I will. We're going to take a little break for the weather, and the weather is brought to you by Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Your hometown meat cutter, locally owned custom meat processor for over 20 years, Scarro's Meats. And they say, hey, it's time to clean out the refrigerator and the freezer. That's right. And bring your wild game meat to Scarro's Meats, and they can make it into salami and jerky and pepperoni sticks. Don't miss out on this. Give them a call today, 324-7657. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather as we get ready to kick off another work week and Independence Weekend. Looks like mostly sunny skies for today. Looking at slightly breezy conditions, winds out of the southeast, right around 11 miles an hour, but a high of 95 tonight, low of 60 tomorrow. Pretty much the same as today. Mostly sunny skies, high of 94 with an overnight low of 59. Pretty much the same for Wednesday as well. Mostly sunny, high of 94, overnight low of 61. Dropping down to mostly sunny and 90 for Thursday, and looks like mid-80s for Friday. Yesterday's high was 85. The overnight low was 45. That is your weather for Zebeth Ranch.
Oh, thank you, Gina, and brought to everybody by Scarrows Meats. 331 North Road, Jerome. Number to call, 324-7657. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Let me, if I may, just open up the Constitution and read the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievance. I want to go back right there to abridging the freedom of speech. If I want to speak out about a court case, I am going to speak out about a court case and exercise my right of free speech and the opinions. If I want to speak out in condemnation of what the liberal left is trying to push on us for climate change and global climate control, I am going to speak out on this program. And for state attorney generals to try to push forth rules and regulations and perhaps even laws that would stop and condemn people like me from voicing anti-opinions to what they're trying to push, how dare they? In this land, the United States of America, how dare they? And go right on into the Second Amendment. I mean, my goodness, while we're reading it, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, comma, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. We are taking this Constitution for granted. We are letting people with very criminal ways and means try to take it and rewrite it and re-establish the meanings. When are we going to stand up for the content of the Constitution? We, the people. The Constitution of the United States of America. I, for one, am not going to let anybody kowtow me and tell me that I have to curtail my free speech. Nor am I going to have anybody try to tell me, well, we have to take your guns. We're going to accept the Australian method of confiscation, and that's what we're planning on doing. Turn your gun in by 9 o'clock Friday morning. I'm not about to do any of that stuff. And nor should you. We've got to stand up and fight back, folks, because there's a very, very insidious group out there that would love to take all of our rights away from us. I know one group that's going to help you with everything we've got as far as summer travel, and that's your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, my goodness sakes, they are good. You know what? All your tires, like the Road Control NW3 for your passenger car tires, all-season tread, smoother, quiet ride. And then they've got for like your pickups and SUVs, they've got the TerraMax HT, all-season tire, economically priced, ready to go and get you to where you're going, up in the hills or over to see Grandma's house in Gunnison, Colorado, whatever it might be. You be sure and stop in and see all 7 locations today. Pardon me, I'm losing my voice a little bit this morning. And all of them, of course, offering the free pre-trip safety check, visual inspection of your tire pressure and your brakes, and of course your batteries and shocks and struts to make sure you're safe while you're traveling this summer. And of course, like I said, the best in brake service and everything else, but above all, service reigns supreme with all 7 locations serving you. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and my buddy Randy on Overland in Burley. The best, our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Thank you very much. Tomorrow, Tuesday, on the program, I understand that we're going to have John LeMay from New Mexico, and he's going to be sitting in on behalf of Dr. History tomorrow, and we're going to be talking about some of the characters of the Old West, especially some of them that were around the central and northern part of New Mexico. That should be a lot of fun. And we're working on getting about 2 or 3 other guests on the program this morning. Everything was rolling great until I got to the office this morning and looked at my sheet, and they said, can't be on tomorrow, can't be on tomorrow, can't be on tomorrow, so I'm trying to fill some of those holes. Also, real quick, I want to remind you that the Snake River Bros are going to have their great big event at Murtaugh Lake on July 8, 9, and 10, and the gates are going to be open at 8 a.m. Friday. They're going to have all kinds of games on the back of those big old Harleys, and they're going to have concessions and everything. It's going to be a lot of fun. July 8, 9, and 10 at Murtaugh Lake. Don't miss it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Until tomorrow, we'll start the thing off at, again, 8:06 right here on Zeb at the Ranch and go till 11 o'clock. And we want you to remember this: the way things were are the way things ought to be. God bless you and your family. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 8:06.